Part 2. Thus the years passed. The village became a small town. The little primary school became high school. There were now a cinema under a tin shed and a cotton ginning mill. The mail train began to stop at the railway station. One night after dinner, Ramlal said to his wife, "Then, shall I accept Bishambar's proposal?" "Yes, certainly," his wife said. "Bhole will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom. A big shop, a house of his own, and I hear several thousands in the bank. Moreover, he is not asking for any dowry." "That's right, but he is not so young. You know, almost the same age as I am, and he also limps. Moreover, the children from his first wife are quite grown up." "So what does it matter?" his wife replied. 45 or 50, it is no great age for a man. We are lucky that he is from another village and does not know about her pockmarks and her lack of sense. If we don't accept this proposal, she may remain unmarried all her life." "Yes, but I wonder what Bholi will say. What will that witless one say? She is like a dumb cow." "Maybe you are right," muttered Ramlal. In the other corner of the courtyard, Bholi lay awake on her cot and listened to her parents' whispered conversations. Bishambar Nath was a well-to-do grocer. He came with a big party of friends and relations with him for the wedding. A brass band playing a popular tune from an Indian film headed the procession with the bridegroom riding a decorated horse. Ramlal was overjoyed to see such pomp and splendor. He had never dreamed that his fourth daughter would have such a grand wedding. Bholi's elder sisters, who had come for the occasion, were envious of her luck. When the auspicious moment came, the priest said, "Bring the bride." Bholi, clad in a red silken bridal dress, was led to bride's place near the sacred fire. "Garland the bride," one of his friends prompted Bishambar Nath. The bridegroom lifted the garland of yellow marigolds. A woman slipped back the silken veil from the bride's face. Bishambar took a quick glance. The garland remained poised in his hands. The bride slowly pulled down the veil over her face. "Have you seen her?" said Bishambar to friend next to him. "She has pockmarks on her face." "So what? You're not young either." "Maybe, but if I am to marry her, her father must give me 5,000 rupees. Ramlal went and placed his turban, his honor, at Bishambar's feet. "Do not humiliate me so. Take 2,000 rupees." "No, 5,000 or we go back. Keep your daughter." "Be a little considerate, please. If you go back, I can never show my face in the village." "Then out with 5,000. Tears streaming down his face, Ramlal went in, opened the safe and counted out the notes. He placed the bundle at the bridegroom's feet. On Bishambar's greedy face appeared a triumphant smile. He had gambled and won. "Give me the garland," he announced. Once again the veil was slipped back from the bright face, but this time her eyes were not downcast. She was looking up, looking straight at her prospective husband, and in her eyes there was neither anger nor hate, only cold contempt. Bishambar raised the garland to place it around the bride's neck, but before he could do so, Bholi had struck out like a streak of lightning and garland was flung into the fire. She got up and threw away the veil. "Pitaji," said Bholi in a clear, loud voice. And her father, mother, sisters, brothers, relations, and neighbors were startled to hear her speak without even the slightest stammer. "Pitaji, take back your money. I am not going to marry this man." Ramlal was thunderstruck. The guest began to whisper, "So shameless, so ugly, and so shameless." "Bholi, are you crazy?" shouted Ramlal. "You want to disgrace your family? Have some regard for our izzat. For the sake of your izzat, said Bholi, I was willing to marry this lame old man. But I will not have such a mean, greedy, and contemptible coward as my husband. I won't, I won't, I won't. What a shameless girl! We all thought she was a harmless, dumb cow. Bholi turned violently on the old woman. Yes, auntie, you are right. You all thought I was a dumb, driven cow. That's why you wanted to hand me over to this heartless creature. But now the dumb cow, the stammering fool, is speaking. Do you want to hear more? Bishambarnath, the grocer, started to go back with his party. The confused bandsman thought this was the end of the ceremony and struck up a closing song. Ramlal stood rooted to the ground, his head bowed low with the weight of grief and shame. The flames of the sacred fire slowly died down. Everyone was gone. Ramlal turned to Bholi and said, But what about you? No one will ever marry you now. What shall we do with you? And Zulekha said in a voice that was calm and steady, Don't you worry, Pitaji. In your old age, I will serve you and mother, and I will teach in the same school where I learned so much. Isn't that right, ma'am? The teacher had all along stood in a corner watching the drama. Yes, Bholi, of course, she replied. And in her smiling eyes was the light of the deep satisfaction that an artist feels when the contemplating the completion of her masterpiece.